Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today, let's follow the journey of an extraordinary man, strong and full of courage. Venturing alone into the deep forest, he single-handedly built a unique underground shelter, transforming the wild into his very own home. How did he overcome the challenges? What wonders lie ahead? Get ready to join me in uncovering this truly inspiring story. At first, he set out into the deep forest, searching for a suitable spot to build a shelter. After finding a suitable spot for his shelter, he started clearing the grass around it to make construction easier. Next, he started looking for wood and sawed it into small pieces to make it easier to transport. The logs are thoroughly clean of all dry and rotten bark. The wood was transported by him to his hiding place. These logs were sawed off at the top, and he cut them in half to make it easier to join the other logs. Then he put them together into a square frame. In a simple wooden frame, he bent down, his strong hands gripping the shovel tightly. Each thrust dug through the soft soil. At this point, he had completed part of the hole. Each layer of soft soil seemed to yield willingly, making the work progress more smoothly than expected. The digging work continues. When the hole is deep enough, he will stop digging. Next, he will fix the wooden frames together with iron nails to make them more secure. With a large shallow sheet of paper in hand, he carefully cut each line with precision. He carefully placed each sheet of plastic over the wooden frame, like a delicate protective shield. The shallow sheets not only kept dirt from falling into the hole, then he used a wooden stake to reinforce the wooden frame so that it would not move. The gaps in the wooden frame will be filled with soil to completely cover the gaps. Next, he sawed a section of the main wooden frame and made a small groove for them. Then he used a small wooden stick and placed it in the groove he just created and fixed it with iron nails. Another long wooden bar to go on top of the main pillar and also fix them firmly. Then he carefully shaped each line, his hands quickly digging a small hole in the corner of the pit. As well as the hole below, he also dug a small hole above ground. These holes will be dug together. Do you know what project he will do? Once again, he ventured deep into the forest, where towering, straight trees awaited. This time, he wasn't just looking for longer logs, but also aimed to bring back a larger quantity than before. However, the journey was anything but easy. Alone, he faced exhaustion, overcame obstacles, and struggled to transport each heavy log. Then he used the wooden bars he had just found and placed them into the main wooden frame he had created earlier and secured them firmly. The excess wood above, he will use a saw and cut them off. The excess wood above he will use a saw and cut them off. After 10 days of tirelessly building his shelter, he finally looked up and realized that winter had quietly arrived. White snow blanketed the forest, turning everything into a still and chillingly serene painting. Part of his structure remained unfinished, now buried under a thick layer of snow. He continued his construction work, placing the remaining wooden beams on the frame and securing them. The temperature had dropped to just 1 degree, the biting cold cutting through his skin, leaving no room for hesitation. Spotting the small logs forgotten in the corner, an idea sparked in his mind. Each swing of the axe echoed in the stillness as he carefully split them into smaller pieces, his hands trembling from the bitter cold. When the fire finally roared to life, its light and warmth spread, driving away the cold and giving him a glimmer of hope. Then he continued his construction work. Lacking wood for his construction project, he decided to head into the forest, where long logs lay quietly amidst the untamed wilderness. With callous hands and unyielding determination, he secured the ropes tightly, pulling each heavy log over steep slopes and through dense underbrush. When the work was almost done, he took a moment to treat himself. On the table lay a fresh, juicy piece of beef, richly seasoned and infused with an irresistible aroma. Carefully, he wrapped it in shiny aluminum foil, as if sealing in his anticipation. Then, he gently placed it onto the glowing charcoal grill, where the flickering heat danced eagerly. After completing the initial steps, he continued to dedicate himself tirelessly to the work of building, pouring his entire heart into creating a sturdy shelter. With skillful hands, he spread out a large tarp, carefully covering the roof as if determined to shield everything inside from the harshness of the weather. He secured every corner, every edge with precision. Then he used soil to cover the roof, which was covered with a shallow sheet to keep out wind and snow. He also spread layers of hay on the roof to ensure the roof would be more secure in harsh weather. After completing the construction of his heartfelt shelter, he sat back to enjoy a hot, delicious steak amidst the biting cold of winter. It wasn't just a meal. It was a moment of self-reward after his relentless efforts. Stay tuned for the next video, where we'll join him in exploring more unique survival experiences at the shelter. The guy walked into the deep forest, breathing the fresh air, step by step exploring the mysterious terrain. He stopped in front of a towering ancient tree. Inside the trunk was a mysterious hollow. His first job was to use a digger to cut down this ancient tree. DGI bong say si the hung vien, and ta long ls Thursday thap ting ninji, tanin chic thang na esni. With the sharp axe in hand, he quietly continued his work. Each chop sounded like the beat of time, mixed with strength and will, step by step subduing the majestic ancient tree. After endless chopping, sweat dripping down his forehead, he finally created a hole in the trunk of the ancient tree. The large hole in the tree trunk was large enough for him to easily crawl into, creating a mysterious and cozy space where he could move freely without feeling constrained or cramped. With a sharp axe in hand, he skillfully made a small hole next to it, making the already difficult work easier. Each axe strike rang out, as if in harmony with the rhythm of determination and creativity. At this moment, he skillfully selected small pieces of wood, each movement filled with concentration. He carefully sawed them into even pieces, as if creating a masterpiece from the simplest details. The logs were carefully arranged neatly and evenly in the shelter. Each piece of wood created a solid, sturdy floor, like a support in the middle of the wild nature. With his skillful hands, he carefully selected small pieces of wood, then piece by piece assembled them together. In no time, a crude but sturdy door was completed, becoming a safe shield to protect his shelter during his arduous journey. He took the young logs and cut them into flat pieces and smoothed them with a sharp knife. With skillful hands and unwavering determination, he carried the log to his shelter. Here, step by step, he transformed the rustic log into a cozy kitchen. It was not only a place to cook, but also a small corner to nurture hope and strength for the challenging journey of survival. To ensure absolute safety, he carefully used handfuls of soil to cover his wooden stove. A seemingly simple action, but it contained thoughtfulness and dedication, as if wanting to protect the place where the fire was kept. With an axe in hand, he skillfully chiseled small holes in the tree trunk, creating perfect joints. Then, each piece of wood was carefully arranged in front of the shelter, gradually turning them into sturdy steps leading down. A simple but creative and meaningful work. At that very moment, he lit the first fire in his small kitchen. After completing the beautiful house in the heart of the ancient tree, he decided to reward himself with a small but meaningful party. With his skillful hands, he prepared a fragrant grilled chicken. The aroma blended with a peaceful space in the middle of nature as a congratulation for the proud achievement.